Hey, my Legion, how y'all doing today? I'm here to do another Saturday Night Live review. I know my friend Timothy Lorna really enjoys them. I want to thank him for what he sent me on PayPal too. I do see it, and thank you very much, buddy, Timothy Lorden. Um, Now, what happened was earlier today. Usually Saturday nights we've been playing D&D through Roll20, and I didn't know exactly if we were going to play. A bunch of people wanted to play, and I got a phone call from a friend, Leather and Jade YouTube channel, and she hasn't been doing. She kind of gave up on doing YouTube and stuff because she just got fed up, and then she got taken off the partner program, which was a shame. And along with a lot of my other friends, whenever they started really making it strict to be monetized, the people who monetized should have stayed monetized, right? But it was nice talking to her again, and then John called, and I was like, well, I'm kind of on a phone call right now. And he said, okay. And then now Don and John said, yeah, we're going to be quitting because no one was able to really play or anything later or was able to stay on. So they were offering me a half hour. I didn't know. I went on and said, well, so I couldn't come on. I was on a phone call and stuff. Hopefully we'll play next week. But we've been playing like late night. Because usually if you start at 8 o'clock, it might go to 11:30, and then or midnight, and then one last week it went to 1 o'clock. Usually Saturday Night comes on, and Saturday Night Live comes on at 1 o'clock. I mean at 11:30. And I thought I missed a whole bunch of new Saturday Night Live, but I guess this is the very first one for 2021, the year 2021. And first of all, it was weird because they had no ending credits. It ended. I mean, they had like the one last sketch. After the last sketch ended, they showed like a little card Cecily Tyson SNL. I don't know. They screwed that up, and then all of a sudden it went to like the next show is supposed to come on with that comedy TV or whatever it was that I don't watch. Well, anyways, John Krasinski from The Office hosts Saturday Night Live, and it just dropped on NBC. And this is my review. I took notes, and Machine Gun Kelly was the musical guest. So, first of all, I'll start off with the cold opening. That's what they call it. It says, "Does what still works?" I mean, it's been such a crazy year, and then this year hasn't started off too good. And it says, "Does these things that used to work still work?" They talk about the government. They talk about that one lady that's a conspiracy theorist that's actually working in the government right now, and they had like a big news story about her and stuff like that. And then they had they talked about the stock market. They talked about the GameStop thing going off the roof. And they caught stonks. And they had like social media, and they had like Zuckerberg and stuff like that on there. And they had a thing about the COVID vaccine. And they said, well, for one of the guys to receive O.J. Simpson. They said, well, you got it, and a lot of other people should get it. And that's all it was. It was just really lame. I think they were just trying to call out stuff, saying this isn't right, and that was their way of doing it. But it just didn't work. It wasn't funny. I give that a. Where am I at? I gave that a 3 out of 10. It was pretty lame. Next was the monologue, and basically all that was John Krasinski, I keep wanting to say Jim, was on there, and people say, hey, Jim from The Office, where's Pam at? And he went there, and then Pete Davidson came in, and Pete Davidson and him kissed. They saw because he was saying like kissing Pam. And this was the first Saturday Night Live I saw a lot of Pete Davidson in. Usually he might be in one skit, and that's it. He was in SNL a lot of probably about 60% of the show. I'm just guessing. I don't know. But I give that a 4 out of 10. It was just lame. It would if they would have actually had Pam come out. I thought Pam was going to come out and make a special guest appearance. That would have been really cool. But no, she didn't. And next was like a commercial for Wayne's World, saying they're going to appear in the Super Bowl, made for a commercial for Uber Eats. And that was a surprise. I like that. And Mike Myers looks a lot different. Dana Carvey kind of looks like the way he always did, but Mike Myers looks a lot different, fuller in the face and stuff. And I give that a 7 out of 10. But it wasn't a big surprise because they just went right into it. But they had the audience soundtrack. They had the audience they played the audience watching it, laughing and stuff, which was cool. Um, Next was Blue Georgia, and this is just about Georgia being a blue state now or something like that, saying like they don't uh, approve of, I don't know, Republican stuff or whatever like that. And then they said they didn't approve of the mask, and they said, well, that's Georgia. That was so lame. That was a two. They tried to make it look like a Mayberry. It was so lame. That was a lame episode. That was a lame skit. Next was The Loser, and The Loser was about like a kind of like a movie thing, like My Bodyguard. Sounded like this one kid was being picked on in school, and then John Krasinski said, "Hey, that's my younger brother. You lay off him." Okay, man. Okay, man. And he said, "Sure, he's a little bit weird." And he starts saying stuff like he had charcoal underwear because he had bad gas. One time he took a dump and he stunk up the school so much they had to leave. And then, that you? And they were like, "Oh, hey, man, stop what you're saying." I mean, he was like a brother, like kind of like saying all this stuff about he shouldn't have. But and that was funny. That was a 9 out of 10. I like that. Next was a thing called the dividend. And it was like a talk show, and they were asked this one guy about the GameStop stock. And it had like a weird thing in the background, like this gory painting, and said, "Who did that?" It was like one of my kids, and the other kids, he held like this baby centipede type thing, and my other kid does sculptures. And they were like a brother and sister twin type thing. It looked like the two girls from both, it looked like girls from Shining and stuff like that. Um, it was okay. I give that a mild 6 out of 10. Next, they had like a commercial for like this musical thing. Like they said Nicole Kidman sang some theme for something like that, and they would like add for like shows that the people that starred them sang or something like that, and it was kind of lame. I mean, I give it a 3. I mean, the Chelsea Grammer thing was a little bit. The imitation was kind of fun, but it was just lame. And they were just like, they've done stuff like that, but I didn't care for that at all. That was a 3.5 out of 10. Next was, boy, I took these notes in the dark. But I mean, next was Machine Gun Kelly, the guest musician. I always thought he was a rapper because the name Machine Gun. I don't really listen to that kind of music. I always thought he was a rapper, but no, he was like a pop rock and roll type guy, I guess. And the first song he did, I mean, he seems like a nice guy though. He's always smiling and stuff. And then he's really tall. And he was playing guitar, kind of singing and stuff like that. It was, I thought it was a forgettable song. I only give that 4 out of 10. Next was the news, and the news can usually be a high point, but boy, a lot of the skits were lame. I mean, and then the guests they have talking to was just lame. There was a couple of jokes I laughed out loud about, especially like the tall dog. It said cause of death ceiling fan. That was funny. And they have like they announced that I found out that McDonald's chicken tender is going to be back in the hot sauce. I definitely want to do that. And also they said Coca-Cola is coming out with a line of coffee drinks or something like that. I want to try that too. So that's two. They did some food review news on there, which is kind of cool. Um, but I mean the other skits it just wasn't that funny. I mean I laughed. Well, they said like one girl, the guy robbed this place, and the girls detained him by giving oral sex before the cops showed up. Like, God, man, I should rob a place. I mean, but it was. I mean, it was a lame episode, but I give it a mild 5 out of 10, just because it made me laugh a couple times. And next was a big surprise because I'm usually not that excited about network TV shows anymore. I mean, because I used to, I was talking to Andy about stuff from the 70s and stuff, and there's lots of really good. Oh, this is so cool! Lots of really cool stuff. Uh, Lots of cool shows back in sound like $6 Million a Minute, stuff like that. And we were talking. Well, I mean, we weren't talking. There was a commercial for a show called The Young Rock, which is the Rock as a kid, because he was born in wrestling with Chief Maivia as his grandfather. His dad was Rocky Johnson. That looks really good. I definitely want to see that. It's coming in mid-February. I definitely want to watch that. Always not on too late. You know what I mean? Hopefully it'd be on like a time that, it doesn't interfere with work and stuff. I definitely want to see that and do a review of that without a doubt. That excites that really interests me. Like that in the Roseanne reboot, even with the Connors. So I mean, I'm not really big into a lot of the network TV after that, but I mean that looked really interesting. Um, let's see. Next was Game Show Network, and they did a thing of Super Mario Sweet. I thought they were going to make fun of Leslie Jones' horrible version of it. I mean, they were just talking about like, um, I guess lesbian couples are really good on the show or something like that. But it was just so lame. And then the set was so lame. I mean, they even tried to just have I mean, they can't really afford to have a giant set like that, but it just wasn't. It just wasn't funny. I didn't care for it. And I give that man. Well, I'd give that 2 out of 10. What else was next? They had let me see. Hold on. The notes I didn't take were good. Oh, they had Subway. They had a Subway skit on there, and they said like, we're talking about Subway and stuff, and they showed like they said we want to get they had the two spokesmen that's always done stuff for Subway, and they said last real big hit you guys had was a $5 footlong, and they had a young kid come on. We want to talk about the Subway bowls, protein bowls, which they are a real thing. And next time I ever go to Subway, I want to do a review of that. But it was kind of, I don't know, the song that they did, the weird jingle that the two guys did was okay, and it got some applause, but I mean, it was just lame. They talk about bring Jared back. It was just really lame. I get a 3 out of 10. Next was Machine Gun Kelly coming back with another song. Now, I actually like this song. I think from what it said about maybe his sister passing away, which is really sad. I couldn't imagine as an artist doing a song about loss or a family member loss like that without crying. Could you get into it? I mean, it looked like he wasn't smart in this one. He was really into it. I mean, I'd start crying, and it was a decent song. I liked it. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It was really good. Next was like the Top Hat, or where am I at? Next one I call Top Hat or Sex Mouse. Now, this was weird. I mean, I couldn't imagine. Now, I give this a little more credit because it was just so strange. I couldn't imagine the pitch they gave for the reading for this skit. Basically, this girl and the guy, John Krasinski in bed, he had a top hat on, and the girl, and he said, well, I got to tell you something. When I was away in France or something like that, he opened it up, and there was like a mouse or rat on there, Ratatouille from, the movie Ratatouille. And he was controlling him like a marionette when they were having sex and stuff. And then I guess he had like a bug on top of his head that said that they're able to pick out distinguished Blu-rays and DVDs or something like that. And he got rid of them. And then the rat was going to move his head so they'd have full rat. And then you see Pete Davidson like this. And this is the only part to laugh. He said, I'm a sex therapist, sex critic. And just the way weird he was made me laugh. Yeah, I mean, and he said sex rat. And it was just so strange that I give it the extra. Oh, because usually it was lame, but this was just strange. And it made me laugh a little bit at the end. I give it a mild 6 out of 10. But overall, it was a really lame show, an average show. I was kind of surprised. I thought maybe if the first show of 2021 would be like a hit, and it would be like a home run or something like that. Or they tried to do something a little bit different, but it was just lame. It wasn't that funny. I mean, overall, I give it a 4 out of 10. It was just, I mean, the only real standout was, I mean, a couple of jokes I laughed at the news. I mean, how weird that skit was. That might go down as one of the weirdest skits. But, I mean, that wasn't a highlight. And then the loser. The loser is probably the biggest comedy highlight of the show, along with one or two funny bits on the news. And that was it. It was a lame show. 4 out of 10. So I hope you like this review of John Krasinski. I keep wanting to say Jim. John Krasinski hosts SNL. Now, when he was doing this monologue, I thought he was going to talk about his movie A Quiet Place 2 getting pushed aside because of COVID and stuff. And I remember in Surefine, they had a whole bunch of the bugles with a Quiet Place logo on it, just like you'll see like for Wonder Woman, they had on the Doritos. But I mean, Wonder Woman's actually out now. But I mean, with the Quiet Place, they had them on the bugles and stuff like that, because it's like they made all that stuff before they knew that it was going to get shelved because of what's going on in the world. You can't really stop that. So I hope you like this review, everybody. Until next time, everybody, please take care, my legion. All right.